first MX2 race here from Alkmaar Raceway here in South Africa. It was straight away from the start. There was an incident down there which saw Steven Sword go off the bike after coming back from injury, and in the lead it was the 131 Nicholas Alban who took the lead and was starting to cruise away with it, but then disaster for the world champion Tony Cairoli coming in with a physical injury after coming together with another machine. But Albin really did put the hammer down and disappear away, but the charger right behind him was the KTM Red Bull rider, and that was Tommy Searle, and he just hunted the Frenchman down and then came through cleanly to pass it as they went underneath the Red Bull bridge and then drew away. And this was just exactly what Searle wanted, to move himself back into the championship contention after having a bad Swedish race, taking the checkered flag first time around for the first win in the MX2 race. So Searle making points as the sun shined, and Tyler Rattray not really figuring in that one. Down to MX1, and it was a case of pole position for Steve Ramon as he got squeezed out in the first couple of turns, and then there was absolute disaster for Sebastian Pourcel on the Kawasaki. Got caught up in a 4-bike pile-up into the first corner, so was battling away. Then we had the sight of Philip Arts chasing Steve Boniface as the Cass Honda riders were just getting completely and utterly overwhelmed by the Yamaha monster rider, who was riding superbly. The red plate holder starting to make his charge towards the top end of the championship, but Ramon was chasing down the KTM rider Max Nagel, and towards the end of the race the Suzuki rider relentlessly started to come back on the KTM rider, and then with about 2 minutes left on the clock moved through into the lead and cruised through to 25 points and victory in the first MX1 race for Team Suzuki. Philip Arts came home in second position, and then it was Jonathan Barragan on the KTM who moved into the third place. Back down to MX2, and it was Tyler Rattray sitting there on pole position, and the South African was absolutely messing with nobody on his home track after a bad start and a bad position in the first race. He was out basically to show everybody what he could do on home territory. Searle was then trying to follow on and moving his way through the pack to second position. Cairoli courageously came out but had to give up with that injury he picked up in the first race. But disaster, no points for the Yamaha team rider. There was a fantastic scrap between Sean Simpson and Stephen Frossard on the Kawasaki. They were literally neck and neck for laps and laps and provided the crowd with an absolutely thrilling race. Nicholas Alban also came back with probably his best performance of the season, and now looks extremely set to score some good championship points, but nobody was going to take the second race win away from this guy. Tyler Rattray in his hometown back in South Africa, all the points, 25 on the board, and exactly what the crowd wanted, a home win all the way to the checkered flag for the second race win of the day for the KTM team. But it was then going back to the red plate for Tyler to take into Belgium in a couple of weeks' time as overall winner on the podium. This time around for the South African Grand Prix, sponsored by Liep Race, was Tommy Searle. Back to MX1, and this was going to be an absolute corker, with Ramon sitting there just waiting to see what would happen in the first corner, and got squeezed out of the equation as the KTM and Max Nagel really did put the pressure on there. And then it was the Yamaha Teamsters of Coppins making up for an extremely bad race, and Philip Arts fighting tooth and nail all the way around this course and going the way of Coppins. But even up the front, it was Barragan who was doing the chasing. The Spaniard really seeming on top form, enjoying the South African sunshine, closing down literally 10th by 10 as he came across Max Nagel, who had made the early start again. And Barragan just took him and stretched the lead away, as the Spaniard now again looks as though he's coming back onto the form which we saw at Mallory Park for his first podium, as came across for the second race win and also for the overall win for this South African GP.